How do I warn listeners that this episode contains graphic violence, murder, and suicide? With this gun in my hand. Irreducible hero by virtue of the fact that he carries a gun, Falk Zildjian faces a killer on the streets of Parabellum City. Machine Gun Callie has left a dozen corpses in a garage in what will forever be known as the Valentino's Day Massacre, because it happened on the anniversary of the death of Rudolph Valentino. People are still broke up about that in 1939.
Get him, Falk!
Billy, get out of here! I don't want you to get caught in the crossfire.
I can't let a gunfight interrupt my paper route. Half the papers in Parabellum City would go undelivered if we all... I'm going.
Lay down your weapon, Callie.
You'll never take me alive, copper.
I'm not a copper, I'm a crime fighter.
You're just as bad as a cop. A cab.
Don't call me a taxi.
F12.
Quit calling out bingo numbers. Oh no, I missed.
No, you got him good.
I was aiming to shoot the gun out of his hand, but he was holding it straight in front of his chest, so...
Yeah, you got him right in the neck.
Oh my god, that's a lot of blood. Are you okay? Callie? I don't think he's okay. You're supposed to disarm them. I know, I'm not perfect. They can't all be bangers. I mean, every shot makes a bang, but... What are we supposed to do now? We got 6 or 8 more minutes to fill. Let me see if there's another script around. Cut to commercial.
Coming this fall to Drama 1310 AM, WPBC. Another day, another town. Somewhere along the dusty road of the loner.
Who is that? Someone lying on the shoulder of the road. Are you all right? Mister, are you hurt? He's stiff. Nothing anyone can do for him now, but...
Wow, what have we here? You find a dead body there, fella?
Officer, thank God you're here. I was just walking down the lonesome, dusty road when I saw this man lying here. He has a head wound, apparently from a blunt instrument.
Probably hit and run.
He doesn't appear to have any other injuries on his body. I would have thought he'd have other wounds if a car had hit him.
We'll let the coroner decide that, bub. Maybe the guy was, leaning way over to thumb a ride, and the only part of him that got clipped was his noggin.
Sure, officer. Well, I'll just be on my way. You know who this guy is? Maybe he stayed in a boarding house in town where I could get a room for the night. Talk to the landlady if she's a friendly sort. See what she knew of this person.
Sure, he's a traveling salesman. Ernest Ballard. Sells picture cards with religious mottos on them. He earns nice rewards for it, too. Basketballs, jewelry, accordion. And he stays in Mrs. Elias's boarding house. Say, you're not going to keep investigating as if this was a murder, are you?
No, just something to make conversation with the landlady. Ask about the weather, the crops, her other guests, what the life of a traveling salesman must be like, whether he had any enemies, who he was last seen with.
What are you doing here in Bradfield anyways?
Just passing through.
Oh, a drifter, huh? Well, why don't you keep on drifting out the other side of town? Or go back where you came from. What are you, some kind of rambling man? A wanderer? King of the road? You want somebody to write popular songs about you in 30 to 40 years?
You can call me what you like, but I have a sincere personal desire to bring killers to justice. If I told you my past, you'd understand why it means so much to me.
Go ahead, I got time.
No, we should really wrap this up.
Why are you in Bradfield anyway? You're drifting through town because you can't keep a stable home, a job?
It's hard times, you know. There's been a depression. We still haven't recovered from it. We probably won't until there's massive government spending on some series of projects.
Roosevelt already did that. Go join the Civilian Conservation Corps or something. The WPA. They're handing out money like it's something they can just keep printing. Hasn't worked out so far.
It will work, but we'll need an even bigger program than all that. Something everyone will get behind. A world-class event that puts people in jobs, making things, building roads. Maybe a rocket to the moon, or what else is popular? Something that gets people marching. Parades, celebration, strong feelings. Everybody loves the military. Maybe that's the key to all this. A sort of military Keynes.
Ah, you're loopy.
Well, I'll walk on to Mrs. Elias's boarding house, and I'll probably be on my way tomorrow.
Glad to hear it. Her place is on the corner of Telegraph Road and, the Lonely Street of Dreams.
Here I go again, on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. They call me the Loner.
Mrs. Elias, I heard you might have a vacancy. Mrs. Elias, are you home? I suppose it's not breaking and entering if the door swings open when I knock. No one in the entranceway. Hello, Mrs. Elias? Maybe through this doorway. Oh no! Someone please help! A woman has hung herself in the dining room. Maybe there's still time to save her. I'll pull up a chair to stand on.
What do you got here? I heard somebody yelling.
Yes, officer, that was me. Can you help me get her down?
She's already cold. That's the woman you wanted to make small talk with, Mrs. Elias. I think we better leave her there so the lab boys can check her out. It's nothing to get too excited about. Sometimes people in small towns just get depressed because they couldn't make it in the big city. So, we get this kind of thing here.
I don't think this was suicide, officer. There was no chair or anything to stand on. I had to haul this chair over from the other side of the table.
She could have stood on the dining table there and jumped off.
I don't think the distances add up. Her feet are 5 feet off the ground.
Maybe she didn't jump off anything. She must have looped the rope over that hook in the ceiling and just hauled herself up in the air. I've seen people accomplish amazing things when they feel low. Get in a car wreck and they suddenly have the strength to lift a car off their injured relative. You wouldn't know nothing about that, would you?
No.
You never dosed yourself with gamma radiation to increase your strength?
No.
You don't wander the country getting angry, losing your self-control, your skin changes color as you transform into a monster, but you help people in distress, then move on before a hatchet-faced newshound catches up with you?
No, where are you coming up with all this? I wander the country trying to find the man who killed my wife, and solving other murders along the way.
Oh, right. You're not wandering because you're suspected in her murder, are you?
No.
Good.
But I caught a glimpse of the guy who did it before he ran away. I believe he's either a man with one arm, or possibly a man with 2 arms.
Oh, I'll be on the lookout for anyone fitting that description. Where did I hear about a one-armed guy recently? Who was that? No, come to think of it, it couldn't be him. He got better. Say, one of this lady's former tenants here had a pet snake, albino. He left it behind when he moved on, but Mrs. Elias kept it. She claimed it was a garter snake, but it could have been poisonous. Maybe it bit her, and she went a little wackadoo, so she did this.
I don't think a white snake was involved with anything that has happened today.
So, you just found Mrs. Elias here, huh? Nobody was around?
Right.
Nobody saw you?
No, I knocked on the front door and it came open.
Sure, everybody knows it's not breaking and entering if the door swings open. Well, maybe you ought to see if anybody's next door. You can ask them questions.
About the deaths of Ernest Ballard and Mrs. Elias?
No, those are suicides. Ask your small talk questions. I figure if you're a loner, you're probably out of practice talking to people. You need to build up that muscle so you don't get too antisocial.
Oh, right.
Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone, somewhere along the dusty road of the Loner.
I'll just pop around the corner and knock next door. Oh, dead neighbor on the lawn. Great. What is it this time? Bullet wounds.
Are you here to fix the roof?
Excuse me, miss. No, I just wandered over from the boarding house, looking for someone to practice my small talk skills with. I found this man lying here. If you're his relative or an acquaintance, I'm sorry for your loss.
No, I'm Lotus Lange, a reporter for the Daily Bradfielder. We don't get much excitement in a town this size, so we have a lot of space to fill if we're going to publish daily. My editor is holding the front page for the story on Mr. Galloway getting his roof fixed. Now what will I write about?
You can write about Galloway's murder and 2 others today. That should make the front page.
Are you sure it's not suicide?
He's been shot twice in the back, once in the back of the head. Plus there's no gun around.
After all he's been through, he probably lost it. Or some good Samaritan might have come along and taken the gun away, so his family wouldn't live under the shame of his suicide.
Does he have a big family?
No, touché.
Who might have done this to him? Did he have any enemies?
No, Mr. Galloway was beloved by everyone. He worked at the telegraph office, selling telegraphs.
You mean he was a telegraph operator who wrote down the messages and sent them on the telegraph line?
No, he sold telegraph machines. He installed them in people's homes for personal use. There isn't much call for it now that telephones are becoming more common. That's why he was struggling and couldn't get the roof fixed sooner.
Aha! So he inexplicably came into some money recently. Maybe through criminal means. I can ask his boss or co-workers at the telegraph office.
Say, I know you. You're the one they call the loner.
That's right.
You come to small towns and stumble across a dead body. Then you follow a connection to another person and find that one murdered just before you got there. Then another body, and another, until the whole town is dead.
He's always one step ahead of me, the man who killed my wife and all these others. I'll catch him one of these days. I'm sorry to bother you, miss. Maybe if I'm quick, I can catch him at the next place.
Don't leave me here.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but it's what I do.
If you leave me, one of the bodies you find in Bradfield will inevitably be connected back to me, and you'll find me dead later.
I have to keep following the trail. I have to stop him.
Then take me with you. He never kills in your presence, so I'll be safe. I'll follow you from town to town. I can help you find clues.
That's not possible.
Why not?
I wouldn't be the loner anymore. I'd have to change the name of the show. What would we call it? The Lonesome Duo? The Pitiful Pair? Then people would get the wrong idea about us. We'd have to explain that we just work together solving crimes, nothing beyond that. It would be a different dynamic.
No, this is just the direction your show needs. We start off platonic, but then the romantic tension builds until the audience can barely stand it. Like Sam and Diane on Cheers, or whatever the names of the mystery solvers were on Moonlighting, or Remington Steele and the woman he was with.
I've never heard of those people. Are they movie characters?
No, they were stories my cousin told me about. He's a clairvoyant crime fighter called Catch 2022.
I'm sorry. The answer is no. I've got to keep moving down that lonesome, dusty road.
It doesn't have to be lonesome. Please, please don't leave me. You're condemning me to death, and you know it.
It's a hard road I travel. Unwanted, unwelcome, but it's the road I must travel. The Loner, weekly on random nights at 11:15. This fall on Drama 13, 10 a.m., WPBC.
Can you stretch?
What?
Can you stretch the loner commercial a bit longer? We can't write a whole new script in 3 minutes.
You spend more than 3 minutes writing them?
Please.
That Loner commercial was probably 5 minutes long already.
10 minutes, 23 seconds. Please.
I don't know. Do we still have the girl reporter? I'm sorry, she's listed as girl reporter in the script.
Lotus Lange. Yes, I'm here. Well, what now?
Stretch. Improvise.
Something I've always wondered, Mr. Loner, ever since I heard about you. You find one dead person in town, then you try to find a witness or someone who knew the victim, and you find that next person dead.
Right, we've been over this. It's not my fault. I'm not killing them.
No, but you're pursuing this one-armed man, or possibly two-armed man. You think they were all killed by the same person.
Right.
What if the second murder was not related to the first? What if the third murder was not related to the first, too?
How could that... What are the chances? If you have one murderer operating in a small town and somebody else connected to the first turns up dead, it's probably the same killer. They couldn't all be coincidences.
It could be a conspiracy or a gang. Are you wanted by the mob?
Well, sure. I'm not riding boxcars and rambling around the countryside for my health. The Green Street crime family put out a hit on me, which is annoying when I'm also on the run from the law because they think I killed my wife.
Perhaps they're trying to frame you for murder. They're hoping you'll be the first person found with the body, and the police will consider you their prime suspect.
No, the cops never take me in or warn me to stay in town. They always tell me to leave town.
But it's so obvious that the first person on the scene with the body might be the killer. You mean the police never put two and two together? How could that be?
That's another mystery for the Loner.
This episode was cut down in his prime. Episode 111 of This Gun in My Hand. Found on the side of a dusty road and dusted off by Rob Northrup. Like all other episodes, this one is available on YouTube with automatically generated closed captions of dialogue. Visit thisguninmyhand.blogspot.com for credits, show notes, archives, and to buy my books, such as Little Heist in the Big Woods and Other Revisionist Atrocities. Why are so many people alone in this town? This gun in my hand!